Hey, everybody, this is Titan Fox from Hammer King, and you're listening to the Brutally Delicious podcast. In my opinion, the most enjoyable thing out there. Thanks a lot.
Awesome. I've already hit record. Thank you for joining us. Like I said, I'm Bruce. That's my partner, Chris.
It's my pleasure. It's my pleasure. Nice to meet you, Bruce. Good to see you, Chris.
Let's talk
Good to
Kingdemonium.
see you too. Well, you want to meet him, but it's only good to see me. Oh my god.
He knows what's up.
I'm totally sorry. I will do the other one. That seems easier.
Right. Thanks, Chris. We're going the other interview. Hey, let's talk Kingdemonium. Holy shit, is that a good record?
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
It is so great and so classic. And Chris and I were just talking, so well produced and so reminiscent of like the early power metal masters and that whole classic thing. I applaud you very well.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I think the thing that we did this time, which is probably the closest to the earlier the classic metal albums, is that we didn't have any bloody time. So we did like they did in the 80s. When you remember, like Saxon having two albums in 1980, Priest having two albums in 78,
Right.
and so on, they were using the time that they had, which obviously led to this quite free spirit in the music. And this time we didn't have much time as well, so we gave everything we had and we worked super fast as we could. And in the end, it seems the album has a very good spirit, so it might be the key.
It doesn't sound like it was done quickly at all.
I mean, we had like three and a half months for writing probably, and then there was 1 month for recording. But 1 month for
Oh my
recording is
God.
not that much actually. You
No.
can do it. It's possible. The interesting thing is there's been no alcohol and drugs in my system during the recording, but I hardly remember a thing, honestly. I hardly remember a thing because it was so fast. I only had one list. I'm German. That's what we do. Do this, do this, do this on time. And it was quite a strain, but it really was wonderful in a way.
That's great.
The thing about the thing that struck me about it is it sounds super modern and super slick, but I also felt like there was like almost like this little bit of 80s glam mixed
Yeah.
in there somewhere. And I couldn't quite put my finger on why I felt that, but it made me feel good. You know what I mean?
I think it is the mix of the production from Jakob Hansen, that's why we chose him actually. When I don't know if you know the latest Pretty Mates albums, Kingmaker and whatever the name was, Pandemonium, and there was another one called Motherland. Fantastic albums. The Pretty Mates sound super fresh like a young band, but the style is totally rooted in their own history, if you want so. So you have this mix of a very up-to-date production, which is super melodic and very, very powerful at the same time. And when Napalm suggested working with Jakob Hansen, I was the first to say, yeah, absolutely, because I like the Pretty Mates thing, because that's usually when you have a modern production, the music loses this sort of 80s melodic side. And when Jakob is producing, the vocals sound super melodic. And I mean, I have the recording before he produced it. The vocals were very good, but I really love my vocals when he produces me. I don't know what he does, but it's fantastic.
Is it the way that he coaches you while you're singing, or is it more of the equipment choice and processing choice?
I really don't know because we record at Charles Greywoolf's place, the guy from Powerwolf, and we work together. And once everything is recorded, we send it to Jakob Hansen to Denmark. So I've never met him, and I've never talked to him. I've only written emails. I joked to Jakob's production to our guitar player Gino. I said, and even if it's only one button that he presses when he's going to the kitchen, the button is magic. I don't know. I mean, he's doing more than pressing a button. That's obvious. But whatever he does, he has a certain like a photographer. When I do a photo, it sucks. Another one photographs the same thing. It looks like magic. So that's what he does.
That's great.
That's very, very cool. Now, I have a question out of left field. If Satan is coming home, did your grandma get mad at those lyrics?
So
Or your
that's-
mom?
Oh my
That's
golly.
on my list
That's
too.
Super fantastic. That's
Is it really?
super fantastic for many reasons. That the same time because I actually dedicated this album to my grandmother.
Oh,
And she wasn't into heavy metal because she honestly believed that heavy metal is the work of Satan. And the wonderful lady almost turned 97 years old, but she left this world and traveled to the next world. No, it's
I'm
absolutely
sorry.
fantastic. She had a very good life, and we were absolutely at peace with everything. So I dedicated this album to her with music that she would never like, and even Satan is coming home is on the album. So I hope you are okay with me now. So, I think she's fine. But a friend of mine, she asked me, "What about Satan is coming home?" She's very spiritual, and he said, "Do you really think it's good to sing Satan is coming home? Because when you sing it, he might do that." And I told her, read the lyrics. You understand this is what society is about. And read the lyrics of the last song, Age of Horizon. And you see that the lightful side is winning at the end. So am I forbidden? Is it forbidden to that scene as well? So Satan is coming home. Yeah.
That's great. That was on my list too.
Because I only heard the one song so far.
Oh my golly. Okay.
Yes. Bruce, I think, has the whole record.
I do.
I hope so.
Yeah. But when I heard it, I was like, oh man, this is kind of like a throwback to like Norway or something. But with power metal, I was just like, I couldn't really compute it in my head. I was just like, what's happening here? But now I get it. Good scene, bad scene, bad scene, good scene.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What's it like playing summer festivals and getting out back on the road again?
Oh, fantastic. I mean, first of all, we had never played major summer festivals before. So this year we had Rock Hearts with 25,000 people, and we had the Summer Breeze with 40,000 people, which is very amazing, actually. And I mean, I always see there's a chance if there's 40,000 people, maybe we can reach 4,000 of them or 10,000 of them, whatever, and introduce them to a band that they probably might not have heard before. So that's a big chance, actually, to make a step forward.
Is it intimidating being out in front of 40,000?
Well, I don't know. We didn't have 40,000 in front of the stage because they have several stages at the same time. So I don't know how many people there were, but it was people wherever the eye looked. So it was fantastic. Right. It's for me, actually, I'm a person who's very uptight and nervous when I have to play a club show. When you have like 60 people standing this close to your face. And the problem is that you see the facial expression of every one of them at every second. So when you do one thing and the people look like this, you always start thinking, oh, maybe the song isn't that great. Maybe I messed up, whatever it is. And you're under a lot of pressure. When you're in front of some hundreds of thousands of people, the energy in the audience is absolutely there. So for me, it's always like being on the couch and watching my favorite movie in a way, because there's so much energy and life in the audience. That's the greatest thing actually to happen. And so it's super fantastic to play it. And at the same time, of course, after these two rather sucky years that every one of us had to experience, it was very, very rewarding to be on a stage, on any stage again.
That's fantastic.
The interesting thing is I had so many fantasies how it would be standing on a stage again. And at the moment when we could do that, the intro tape was rolling. I stood at the same place as always, and it felt like my last show would have been 5 minutes ago. So it's very strange. In a way, it wasn't special at all. But gladly, it wasn't that special. It was very natural, and glad it's back, actually.
I can't remember who I heard an interview with, but they said the first time they went back on stage after COVID, it was like having an orgasm in public.
I hope so.
They were just so like, oh my God, this is crazy.
I mean, I have to say the first three shows that we did were in Germany, where our wonderful government had the beautiful idea that everyone is supposed to sit permanently and wasn't allowed to move at all. So playing a metal festival for a sitting audience is very, very humiliating, because you give all your energy and it feels like they hate you because they're not able to react. So they were cheering and singing like maniacs, but there didn't come anything back. So once we played the first show with people standing without masks, that was very, very different. It wasn't an orgasm, but it was pretty close, because you didn't reflect anymore. It was super super energetic, like flying on autopilot as fast as you can. I never sang better in years than at this show because it was so liberating actually.
That's great.
Was the band kind of speeding up and like pushing the tempo
No,
because of the excitement?
we can't. We're having a metronome on the drummer's ears.
Ah,
It's
God
impossible,
bless you.
sadly.
God bless you. I love click tracks live.
Well, it's a double-edged sword in a way. I mean, it makes everything very constant. But I have seen bands, and I won't say which band it is because I like them actually. But they were one of the first to play with the click track, and I always felt they were so much on the click that it felt stale in a way. I like it when things are moving. Yeah.
Yeah, I used to have all these people come in. Well, my drummer's great live, but he's terrible in the studio.
Oh, yeah.
And I would always tell them that that does not exist. That doesn't exist.
No,
if you can't play to a click, you can't play to a click. You're going to be terrible live. You're going to be terrible in the studio.
Absolutely. And I mean, that's one of the things that Dolph has always been extremely focused on. We've been playing for 18 years now, I think, together. And I mean, none of us were that great 18 years ago. But he's always been one of these guys who could absolutely record a demo in a couple of takes because he was so on the click. So he played with a visual click some years back, and we still were totally on the click just by looking at it. And now with the audio click, we're super tight actually.
Well, that's one of the things that's one of the first things I noticed about the track was how consistent the drums were. And they didn't, like, a lot of times when drums are that consistent, they sound inhuman. They sound edited, you know? Now, whether you edit it or not, it didn't sound that way to me. It sounded like just a drummer on top of everything he was doing.
I think to be sure that this time we really had minimal editing on the drums. We had that in the past, of course, but I remember Charles saying Dolph was in a very fine form this time. He did basically nothing with the bass drums, for example, because they were super tight. And maybe once in a while you have to move a tom slightly when there's something just to save the time. Actually, if you record another take, it takes you 5 minutes more or 10 minutes more. So in everything there is minimal editing, but there is really very minimal actually.
Nice.
Yeah, no, I think maybe that's what I heard in the song that I loved. And it goes back to what you were talking about, when you were like, we did it like old school. We just had no time, went in, got it done, got the hell out.
Yeah. Actually, that is it. I mean, I remember Ross the Boss telling me when he recorded the guitar solo for Battle Hymn. I mean, everybody knows the solo. It's fantastic. And Ross said, I will do another take. It wasn't perfect. And gladly DiMaio told him, leave it the way it is. It will never be better. It was the first take, and it's perfect. I mean, it's not precise, but it's perfect.
Inspired, right?
Yeah. Well, you hear that on a lot of old Zeppelin records too.
Totally. Yeah.
Like when I was younger, everyone was like, Zeppelin was the tightest band ever, and so I had that in my head. But then when I became a recording engineer and I started listening to them, I was like, this band isn't even close to tight.
Not at all. No. The only thing that they had was a gigantic drum sound, so it sounded very tight, but they were absolutely loose, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, like all the recordings were just get in, write the song, get out.
And I mean, one of my favorite examples is if you think of the Prophet song by Queen, where Freddie is doing this triple vocals with a double delay. This now I know, and his voice is cracking, and you hear it crack in the middle and the left, and then on the right side. The take isn't perfect, but hell, the entirety is fantastic. So
it makes sense in the end.
Absolutely, yeah.
It was also a lot harder back then to just punch in a word or cut in a word.
Absolutely. I mean, you must say that back in the day, all the bands were very, very good players, and they were fantastic. And now you really don't know if the bands are great or not. So.
Till you see them live.
Yeah, but if you see them live sometimes, I mean, at the Summer Breeze Festival, I saw a big headlining band with a female vocalist, and I won't say any more, other than it wasn't Nightwish. I'm not sure how much of that was live, actually. They stood on stage and they played their instruments, but I'm not sure if everything was live at all. Even then, it's hard to say.
Right.
Mm-hmm. It is true, the way the world's working. There was when do you think that shift happened to backing tracks live? Like, I kind of remember it around like 2005, 2006, somewhere in there.
I saw Jack Panzer in '98, and they already had them. And I
Oh,
read
really?
that Queensryche had backing tracks
Oh
on
yeah.
Rage for Order tour. What's 86 probably? I
Yeah.
think 86.
Oh yeah. I guess even the Who played with backing tracks, right? For Bubba
Yeah,
O'Reilly.
possible. Yes, possible. I mean,
There's horror stories of the tape machine
nice.
burning up, and they lose the organ.
Oh, wonderful. And I mean, if you're honest, Queen had a backing track. They performed the middle of Bohemian Rhapsody, just
Right.
only playing the record actually. But I mean, that's okayish. I mean, if you don't fake anything, they went off stage, they played the tape, and they returned. It was obvious. But nowadays, you can't really tell. I mean, if you have the time, and I see you got this beautiful Kiss artwork behind you, Bruce. But there is some tracks on YouTube where
They're
you can hear what
horrible.
Stanley is hearing. Uh-huh.
Yeah, he's
When-
this
when
far
the-
away
when
from the mic and he's screaming. I know. It's horrible.
Absolutely. And some guy, probably a guy working for Kiss, put something online where you can hear what Stanley is hearing on the in-ear monitoring. There is a voice saying, "Hold your hands up, wait for the
No.
count in 3, 2, 1," and then Stanley says 1, 2, 3, 4, and they start with shout it out loud. So he's told where to hold his hands. Well, that's really tricky. And you can hear two voices when he's singing, and the playback is up front, and you can hear one voice when he's really singing.
So
Well,
I'm gonna
even on the Motley Crue tour going on right now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Man, you're taking all my
Mick
thunder.
Mars is playing the backing
Yeah,
tracks.
absolutely.
He's playing the backing tracks. You can hear a guitar playing in the background.
But did you
Throughout
see that
solos.
that Tommy Lee thing where he was getting stuff set up with his
That was the
roadie,
count in though.
and then there it was.
Okay. No.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it.
And he wasn't even at the
confess I
set.
don't like the Crue. Okay.
Anyway,
yeah.
Chris, I know you had some funny things to ask before we go because we said we keep
Absolutely.
it 20-25 minutes.
Oh yeah. So I like to do a thing where people react to YouTube comments on their videos.
Oh yeah.
Okay. How about this? From Joshua Martin Price. A king of death governs all, but afterwards there is a bliss for the spiritual minded.
Well, I can't say anything to it actually. Well, good for you.
Okay, here's one from Rachel. All I could think in the opening was, yes, I'm paranoid, but am I paranoid enough?
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, I like your name. Hopefully, you are paranoid enough.
One more.
Of course.
Okay. This one makes me laugh because I don't even understand it. This is one from X Inferno. This doesn't sound like metal to me at all! Exclamation point. The vocalist has no power in the voice. Pity for the good instrument.
Well, I mean, I must say I'm quite cool with it because I play an instrument at the same time, so I seem to be okay at least.
Right. And I was reading you guys broke the top 50 charts in the last year or so. So you're doing something right, correct?
Probably. I mean, probably.
I think
we broke
X Inferno
we
could
broke the
screw
top
off.
50 last year, and we even broke the top 20 this year. It was amazing. We were on 17. But I mean,
Okay.
Ross the boss once said, "Opinions are like assholes. Everyone has got one." And I mean, it's absolutely fantastic. And I do the same myself. Sometimes I'm standing with my buddies in front of a stage, and someone plays, and I say, "Oh, I really hate what they do." I mean, it's not respectful, but that's how life is. I mean, it doesn't hurt anyone. Hopefully.
Okay, and this is my favorite one from, I can't pronounce this name. Why do all people think metal people are satanic? Oh, wait.
Well, as long as my grandmother is with us, I have to say, read the lyrics of the final song. We're not satanic.
You are
It would be
awesome,
like
man.
somebody portraying Adolf Hitler. He's not Adolf Hitler. He's just portraying it. So it's for the sake of the story, of course.
Yeah, no. I just like to do that because
That's
sometimes
very good.
people on the internet, they have like, how do you say it? They're like, if they would never say that to anybody's face, ever.
Right.
Probably not.
As a matter of fact, most of the people that are most outspoken like that are probably introverts and they don't really like to talk to people. But on the internet, they're strong
I
and
show
they're
you
tough.
my
And they have
fist,
small
of
dicks.
course.
Yeah.
I mean, Yeah, you never know. Maybe not. I don't know. Oh yeah, that would be quite a cool response. Why do all people think heavy metal musicians are satanic? Wait, give me a second. Why do we think that everyone commenting on metal videos has a short dick or something? But I mean, that's what Bruce Moore said. I didn't.
Bruce,
say
you just got called out.
I just got quoted by Titan. That's pretty good.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
But I mean, the thing is, we have to live with that. And sometimes, very rarely, somebody really says something where you think that wasn't okay. But otherwise, to say I don't like the vocalist, I mean, I've heard that so many times, and you get something like your voice is so touching, it moves me, and the next one says your voice is absolute garbage. So, well, that's it. I mean, you can't do
the one
anything.
thing that I find interesting when people attack somebody's voice is like that's the one thing about a person can't
Absolutely.
change their voice.
Absolutely.
Right? Like if you don't like your guitar sound, you can go get a different guitar and a
Absolutely,
different
yeah.
amp and different mics and different drums, whatever.
I mean, that's
You can't change your voice.
That's the thing. I mean, one of my most prominent examples is Halloween, because when Michael Kiske left the band and Andy Darius joined the band, he was smashed to death for 20 years or so. Everybody hated him because he wasn't Michael Kiske. And then when they announced that Kiske was back, I read that Darius is still in the band, and I thought, Andy, are you nuts to stand on stage next to Michael Kiske? And I watched the show. And within 2 minutes, I was standing in front of stage, really seeing Andy Darius is probably the most intelligent guy in the business. He knew that once he would be there with Kiske together, for the first time ever, everybody would know how great Andy Darius is. And he's fantastic. He's just totally different. So, and when you got them both, I must honestly say I'm a gigantic Kiske fan, but maybe sometimes Darius is even more enjoyable. I don't know why. So it's interesting.
You even see that with Arch Enemy, right? Everyone wants the old
Absolutely.
singer back. And like Alyssa's been in that band for how long?
I don't know.
Like
And it's kicking ass,
more
right?
than 10 years, I think. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And that's just, I mean, if you look at Nightwish, you got the same probably when you have like Tarja, everybody was into Tarja, nobody was into Annette, but everybody loves Floor Jansen. I think Floor Jansen is one of the few people who is really capable to step out of the shadow of a legendary predecessor. But usually the voice is always polarizing. Absolutely.
do you find the European metal community is a pretty close-knit community? Like bands know everyone, basically?
I mean,
They know each other, or they're familiar with each other more than
I mean, in a way, yes, there are many. When you play a couple of festivals, the more you play, the more people you actually know. When we did Rock Hearts, I knew a couple of people. We played Summer Breeze 2-3 months later. There were more like, "Hey, good to see you" moments then actually. And on the other hand, I used to help out some friends 6 years ago or so in a wave rock band, and I was playing guitar in a wave rock band then. And I saw what an audience they have. There is no scene, there is no community. That's so dead what they do, and the band was really good actually. So I think whatever
you only find that
can
in
be
metal.
said about the metal community,
Yeah.
absolutely. So whatever people might say about metal, this is paradise on earth when it comes to music, because there is maybe in jazz and blues it's similar, but the audience is older. But otherwise, metal is the one music where you really can rely on an audience, actually, and that's a blessing. Absolutely, absolutely. It's even more so after the pandemic thing, because I think that the people feel how much they missed it, actually.
I always say this, and I may or may not be backed up factually with this. Actually, I know I'm not backed up factually, but I'm going to say it anyways because I believe it to be true. I think metal is the biggest genre of music in the world.
Could be.
I would
be, yeah.
Because the metal fans, they buy the records, they buy the concert tickets, they buy the merch.
Yeah, absolutely.
They go to every festival.
and they wear
do
that
everything,
merch
right?
everywhere.
Like, yeah,
Absolutely,
and the
absolutely.
pop, like if it's pop music, they might pack a stadium, right? But they go to that show, and that's their show for the year. But if you're a metalhead, you're at the clubs, you're at the bars, you're at the fest. Oh, you might see the same 3 times in a year because you love them so much.
Absolutely. I totally agree, because I mean I went to see Genesis. I saw Genesis. That was fantastic. But I don't see anything else like Genesis. It was just going to Genesis. So that's it. I mean, if you're into metal, you go and see more bands. You go to the festivals. I might agree with you. Absolutely.
Hey, we're running out
There
of
you go.
time, Chris.
Chalk it up for Chris, Business 101. Oh, sorry.
Now we're running out of time. I told you we keep it to under 30, and we're right.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. Absolutely.
I hope that wasn't
the
too
Skype
bad.
thing is already flashing. No, I enjoyed it. It was a pleasure. Thanks a lot.
So we were the better choice then?
We try to keep this show different
I'm
than
not at liberty to say.
we try to keep the show different than
That's
the
really
regular,
refreshing,
like-
honestly. I really enjoyed it a lot, and hopefully we'll meet again next year.
Awesome. Hey, before we go, can I get a
well,
bumper for
next year.
Sorry?
maybe 70,000 tons?
Oh yeah. I mean, if we can, we do.
Before we go,
Wait, would you like to be on 70,000 tons of metal?
Totally.
let's put it out there.
Well, tell me why.
First of all, I mean, I like the ocean. I like the sea. I like ships. So we actually wanted to do that anyway. And I mean, it's super special. The band roster is fantastic. And from what I've heard from people who went there as fans, it must be a very enjoyable thing, actually. So totally, that would be a blessing. I mean, it's like Wacken. It's like Wacken Festival. You go to Wacken, you go to 70,000 tons. That's the peak of everything. Absolutely.
That's what we've been saying. We've been preaching that for
Amazing.
months.
I agree.
Yeah, because there's nothing else like it. It's not as many fans, but it's that same notoriety
absolutely.
of metal
so
festival.
If there's a chance, we totally will go.
So we put it out there in the universe. If it happens, it's because of us.
See you next year on the ship. Absolutely. Thanks for booking us.
If you end up on that boat, you're buying us a beer.
We'll
buy you a
no
beer.
problem
It's
at
okay.
all.
A dark beer for me, please. He drinks some shitty stuff. So
No problem. Dark stuff, shitty stuff, whatever you want.
thank you, my
That's
friend. I
awesome.
appreciate you.
Thank you. It was a pleasure. So
Good.
very refreshing. So thank you.
Excellent.
You
Glad
got it.
You thought that. Be well. Take
Thanks
care of
a
yourself.
lot. As I always say, God bless the king. May the king bless you. And we'll see you on 70,000 tons of steel.
We'll see you, my friend. Be well.
Thanks a lot. Bye-bye. All
Take
the
care.
best.
Yep.
Bye. Bye.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.